It's started, hasn't it? The moral panic over white fragility has run its course, so now they've got to find something else for the middle classes to worry about. And what better than to have the middle classes worrying about the working classes because, well, why not? It deflects everything away from them, makes them feel superior, and keeps them concentrating on one thing while the government's doing sleight of hand with the other. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I suppose some of you will remember the big fuss and froth about Robin DiAngelo's books on white fragility, which has probably made a multimillionaire of her, and all the courses that came out of that a lot of middle class parents trotted along to, white middle class parents trotted along to, telling themselves how good they were being because they were going through a course that told them they were nasty people and didn't deserve to live, or things like that. Well, now they've sold all their books and the courses have lost their gloss and I'm sure a lot of their customers. And so now the moral panic is about teenage boys. So now the middle classes are going to be going to courses on teenage boys doing evil things and reading, going to the local bookshop and piling up stacks of books on how to recognise the signs of murderous fanaticism in their sons. Of course, white, working class boys, murderous fanaticism, vanishingly small demographic. In fact, the violence is always in this direction. You get black or brown boys who are involved in some sort of murderous or a potentially lethal encounter with other black or brown boys. The names of this poor child's assailants will be not your standard John Brown type of name. Statistically, I can't say that for sure because I haven't seen the names of the children involved, and nor will I see them because if they're under 18 then their names won't be published. But it says here 2 teenagers have been charged with murder after a teenager was stabbed to death. Kieran Charles, 17, was pronounced dead near East Acton Tube Station on Erkenwald Street at about 1:10 p.m. on Saturday. It's a terrible tragedy for his parents, of course. I don't want to sound in any way like I'm minimising that. But the statistics on violence of black teenagers, mostly, against black teenagers is something you can't ignore. And yet the media are ignoring it. It says here the Netflix show has terrified UK parents, the Prime Minister included. Yeah, I don't think it's I don't think anything terrifies the Prime Minister. He's too stupid to be terrified. But he does see this as an opportunity to deflect from the bad way that a lot of, especially Asian people, are behaving recently in this country. But it's important not to blame boys and encourage them to open up instead. So you encourage them to open up by going on courses and reading books, which they will gladly provide you with for a small sum, of course. Adolescence makes for chilling viewing for everyone. The Netflix drama has sparked national debate with its fictional tale of a 13-year-old boy who becomes a knife-wielding murderer of a girl at his school after consuming misogynistic content online. Again, as a matter of fact, and they quote Andrew Tate in the script of this show, white boys are the least interested in Andrew Tate. It's Asian boys who watch the most of it. And that's because, Asian cultures tend to be misogynistic. And to a certain extent, that includes Hindus as well as Muslims. But Muslim society is very misogynistic to start with. And I know I'm going to get outraged comments by people with names that I suspect are not as English as they sound, in which they will say, no, Islam was the first or a feminist religion or some such nonsense, which just shows you how the human brain can twist things when it really wants to. While Adolescence isn't based on a single true story, alarm is growing over the behaviour of boys and young men who are increasingly exposed to extreme ideas about girls on the internet. And again, it's not people who look like this kid. It's people who look more like this kid or more Asian than this kid. And I'm really sorry about this kid. I mean, I really am. He was a victim here, and his parents will be victims for the rest of their lives. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone. It's enough to make parents of boys as well as girls frantic with worry. Yeah, and that is probably the reason that the government is pushing it like this. It's a good drama. I didn't see it, but I know from various analyses that it is a good drama, well written, well acted, a gripping piece of TV fiction. But there were many other gripping bits of TV fiction that have not received the same sort of response from the government. The government looks at this and thinks it's an ideal deflection device for parents concerned their son could be falling down an internet rabbit hole of misogyny. There are signs to watch for. Yeah, just tell us what it is, O leader, and we shall follow you. Look out for language, said Dr. Papadopoulos. If they're using these hierarchical ways of describing men, he's an alpha, he's a beta, she's a high-value female, then that's a bad sign. Well, it may be a bad sign. As a doctor once remarked to me, a headache is a sign of a brain tumour. Right, well, what else is there? Nothing. A lot of the discourse around adolescence has coalesced around the social media bans. Of course, I'd forgotten about that. This is another nail in the coffin of free speech here, because Starmer is going to leap on that, pounce on it and land and stick his claws and fangs into it as justification, because he's called it a documentary. Like, as if it really happened. And what really happened was this. Now, if they'd made a show about the violence between boys of African or Asian heritage or ancestry and the problems they're having, then that would be realistic, and that would be very useful to study and to try and do something about. But then that would mean stop and search, wouldn't it? And they don't want to do that. So if some policeman had stopped and searched the other two teens, that kid would still be alive. But he isn't. And he isn't because of this. You see, they're worried about kids like this instead of kids like the assailants of Kieran Charles. Well, that's it. Starmer is going to make the most of this. And of course, all the various agencies, publishers and pop psychologists are going to make a mint out of it if we allow ourselves to be morally panicked the way we were, well, the way some people were with the white fragility nonsense. All right, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.